before we get into this week's new comic book day, let me break you down my top 5 from last week. And coming in at number 5, we have Resurrection Man, Quanta Karma, issue 1 by Ron V, with art by Anand RK. And we had covers by Geoff and Dan Panesian. And this is the Dan Panesian cover that I love so much of this book. And my number 4, coming in at number 4, we're going Black Ritual, Book of Knits, issue 1. This is by Thomas Neely, art by Nat Jones, and covers by Nat Jones and Jonathan Glampian. This was another really good read. I really enjoyed this. And it's a new entry into the Spawn universe, and I will always enjoy new books in the Spawn universe. And then number 3, we're heading to my favorite street, and that's Hyde Street. This is issue 5, written by Geoff Johns, art by Ivan Reis and Francis Portela, and covers by Ivan Reis and Danny Mickey, Brad Anderson. This is a really good read. I thoroughly enjoy it. If you haven't picked up anything from Ghost Machine, I highly recommend you pick up some Ghost Machine products and give them a read. Coming in at number 2 this week, also from Image, I Was a Fashion School Serial Killer. And this is written by Doug Wagner. And this is we had covers by Daniel Hillyard and Michelle Madsen did the color on it. And Jay Lee and June Chung also did a cover that I picked up. And Daniel Hillyard also is doing the art in this book. And the art in this book is fantastic. Doug Wagner knocked this first issue out the park with the writing. This is going to be a fun series. But let's jump into my number 1 pick from last week's new comic book day. And I had to give it to Oni Press's Plague House, issue 1 by Michael W. Conrad, art by Dave Chisholm, and covers by Brian Level and Noah Bailey. This was fantastic. This is redefining the horror genre of comic books, and Michael W. Conrad is knocked it out of the park. With the art by Dave Chisholm, the art is perfect with this book and the writing. Oni Press, hats off to y'all because y'all are slaying the game right now. Kudos to y'all.